All right, the air conditioning video number, I think it's 4, maybe it's 5. I don't keep count. So we're back at this. I just filled it up with the factory specification for this particular vehicle, 1,190 grams. And if our little focus here. Now, if you had the excursion, it would be 1,500 grams. If you had the excursion with rear air conditioning, it would be 1,940 grams, almost 2,000 grams. Oh, for you guys who live in America, 1,000 grams is 2.2 pounds. You could do the conversion. So you're almost going a little over 4 pounds right there. So in this case here, we're only 1,190 grams. So I'm data logging right now. Here's the temperatures. Let's see if this will focus in. Come on. So right now, that is the duct temperature inside the duct with the vehicle off. I have the temperature sensor. You see where it says 120? Let me touch it right here. It's 120. Of course, this piece of shit Apple doesn't want to focus. And it's 120 degrees. Come on, Apple, focus. Come on, you can do it. Your freaking $1,500 phone piece of shit. 123 degrees and rising, and the engine is off, and it's just sitting there stagnant. Now, if you remember from the past video, I showed you that the cabin temperature, the air inside the cabin, not inside the duct, was 130 degrees. The cabin is roasting in there. It's 54 degrees outside. Now here is, where is it sitting at? This is the low side temperature, 65, and it's sitting in the sun. It's not even inside the plenum area. It's sitting right here, just having wind blow over it. It's on the hot black plastic here, but it's only 54 degrees outside. Let's go right there. That's not the best place, but it's better than nothing because I don't care. Now let's get over to, let's look at the pressures. The pressures are even. And as you see, we're gonna data log the pressure. So there's the right at 70 there. Here's the high and low side. You can barely see that the blue and the red are right traveling on top of each other right now. They're equal. This is an orifice tube system. And because we have an orifice tube, there's no restriction between the high side and the low side on the expansion device. So the high side and the low side are equal pressure right now. Here's the high side, here's the low side. We're gonna kick this on and we're gonna watch this thing change right in front of us. And now that it's properly charged up, if you've seen the first video when I was running and I was data logging and showed you how it ran, with 940 grams, it was having some issues. Now let's see how it runs with 1,190 grams. So let's see if I could get this a little clearer. Okay, there we go. Let's kick it on. I have it in high speed, I have it in full cooling, I have it in max. And I'm taking the temperature right here. Let's go. 1, 2, engine started. So now you'll see there it goes. The clutch just kicked in. And I drop it. And you see that high side shoot up, and you see that low side shoot down. This is at idle. And an important thing, this is a fixed piston compressor. It makes all the difference in the world compared to a variable displacement or variable speed compressor. You have to know the difference on vehicles, especially when you're working with electric vehicles. Those are usually variable speed compressors compared to the majority of compressors that are on the market now on new vehicles that are variable displacement compressors. Oops, sorry about that. Let's back out. So we're idling, and you can see it's idling at roughly 700 RPMs. Let's look at our temperature out our duct. What did our temperature do? Let's come back up here. Okay, so we're 130 degrees inside the cabin of this car. So it's fighting really hard, recycling this 130 degree air in this cabin. And you've seen it was 130 degrees by my video before this, when this air temperature sensor was sitting over here, right there like that. It was sitting. taking the cabin air temperature at 130 degrees at this location. And now the cabin temperature is rapidly falling. As the cabin air temperature falls, see, this return air is not true because I don't have it in here. I actually have the return air outside for when I turn this in fresh air mode, when I come out of max. Right now I'm in max, so I'm recycling the air within the cabin. So let's go outside. Boom. Now let's go back to our graft. Now let's follow, because now we're feeding outside cooler air that is 54 degrees over the evaporator instead of the hotter inside cabin air that is 130 degrees, which is probably about 100 degrees now. It's cooling. The cabin is cooling off really fast. I wish I had my third air temperature sensor so you can watch how fast the cabin is going. And now that we switched over to outside air, see, we're on regular AC mode. We have fresh air coming in here, and the fresh air is 54 to 60 degrees. Well, actually, the hood is up, so it's bringing some of that hot air that's blowing over the condenser, the radiator, the engine is being sucked back. So it still has some relatively warm air going over the evaporator coil, not quite 54 degrees, but we're dropping. Let's see where we're at. We are, focus. Come on, iPhone, you can do it. Pay all this money for a piece of shit like this and you can't even focus. 49 degrees right now and dropping. Nice steady drop. 48 degrees. Our outside inlet, this is not the proper inlet air, this is not the mixed air, because I do not have it down inside the inlet or in a cabin filter or anything like that. So this is just a rough estimation of the air that's coming over because the hood is up. If I close the hood, it would be outside air temperature coming in through the corral. But right now the hood is up, so some of that hot air gets to blend in. Let's go back to pressures. And of course, come on iPhone, focus. Here's a hand, focus. Man, iPhone sucks. All right. Take a look. Our temperature of our suction line is 37 degrees. Remember, we were at 28, 29 degrees on our suction line temperature before? That was with 920 grams. Now we have 1,190 grams. And I think before we were traveling we were borderlining staying steady just above 21.5 psi. At 21.5 psi is just on the cusp of kicking out the cycling clutch switch, and it would kick out the compressor. We're staying above that now. And if you notice, and we have a much higher, this is the liquid line within about 3 inches coming out of the condenser, our liquid line temperature. I have the temperature sensor, the thermistor probe, attached at the condenser, right out of the condenser. You notice we're much warmer now. All right, so I'm gonna cut out here for now. I need to data log this and record this for the customer's invoice, showing my before and after. I'm going to let this run for a few minutes and make sure the evaporator does not freeze up. And because he was complaining about it not working, but it's really difficult to diagnose on a 54 degree day. But I'm sure that I know that the pressure switch is cutting out at 21.5 psi with a full refrigerant charge. I am not going to have a problem with the evaporator freezing up into a block of ice. So let's let this run for a while, come back. Maybe there'll be another video, which will be about video number 6, I think, on this car.